feel like you're always searching for answers, you need to start from within. So today we're going to sit down and talk about how we could find our answers by connecting with our inner self. Today I have my special guest and a friend, Sean Hakim. Sean is a writer, a motivational speaker, and today we're going to both talk about how we could all find answers. So first I'm going to ask Sean to say hello to everyone.
Hello to everyone. Have a good day, everyone.
Hey, Sean. So, Sean, I know you have done a lot of spiritual work yourself, and I thought it'd be a really good idea for us to sit down and really talk about this. So, I'm going to throw it over to you and explain what is the emptiness that we feel, why are we always searching for answers, and what can we all do about it?
Well, first of all, thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome.
It seems to me that when we come onto this planet, that a lot of us come and immediately there seems to be an emptiness or a void that we're trying to fill. And it starts from a young age. I think from a young age, a lot of us feel complete. And then somehow along the way, we start to feel emptier and emptier and emptier. And the way our society teaches us, it teaches us to fill that void with what they think is necessary to fill that void. So they tell us that we need to fill that void with a really good job, or we need to fill that void with keeping up with the Joneses and making sure we have the nice house, or fill that void with alcohol, or fill that void with sex, or fill that void with drugs, or fill that void with food, or with consumption, massive amounts of shopping. There's always a way that society tells us to fill that void. And what we end up finding is that none of those things work. It's a temporary fill. It's a temporary fix. We feel that void filled for a very brief amount of time, and then suddenly the hole is back there again. And it's almost like the hole is like a black hole, actually. So as soon as we're filling that void with all of these different things, illusory things that don't exist really in the grand scheme of things, that black hole, which is inside of us, kind of sucks it in and it goes away. And then we're left to fill that hole again. So I think a lot of us try to fill that hole now with the spiritual journey. And that spiritual journey can take on many, many forms, but that is a way that a lot of us are trying to fill that hole.
It's an interesting point because I feel like the whole that void that we feel inside of us can never really be filled. And I'm always on the path and finding out ways to actually decrease it as much as possible. I think our thoughts kind of run our lives. And every time we think about certain things, we don't even know what to really trust anymore. Can we actually trust our thoughts? So recently, the work that I've been doing with a lot of my clients is really connecting with our bodies and really feeling the sensations in our body. I think what we're talking about here is the emptiness and where do you really feel it? For a lot of people, they feel it somewhere around in their stomach area or they feel it in their heart. And when that comes around, be mindful if is this a void that you're trying to fill? And immediately when you're reacting immediately go on social media to see how many likes you have or how many subscribers you have on YouTube or how many Instagram followers you have. And after you leave, you still feel like crap inside because that void, it's still there. In my experience, what I have seen that helps people decrease that hole and that void is to really connect with their inner self. And that comes a lot from meditation, really listening to the voice of a greater purpose versus the negative thought patterns that you've had from the day. That's one way of doing it. So, Sean, I want to ask you about what are some ways that you have seen that you could decrease that void even more?
It's something that I've known for a very long time, and it's such a trite topic at this point because everyone talks about it, but a lot of people don't know really how to do it, and it's living in the moment. In the moment, you've got everything that you need to be happy. You do. Now, right now, I'm sitting here and I'm talking to you, and we're having an amazing conversation. But I could sit here also and be thinking about what I have to do after I'm done talking to you. Oh, I've got this to do. I've got that to do. I've got to pick up my kids and, got to take them to Taekwondo and all this kind of stuff. If I start doing that, guess what? There's a little bit of anxiety that starts to creep in. So what I've learned, and this is actually just something recent, Lily, it's not something I've been doing for a long time. I've known the concept and the idea behind living in the moment, and I've always had it as a kind of mental thing that I need to do. When I started getting away from the mental aspect of living in the moment, I started doing the feeling aspect of physically sitting in the moment, really paying attention to my subject or whatever I'm doing, that void is filled. Because in that moment, you always have everything that you need, right? So that's something that I've been doing just lately. When I say lately, I'm talking about the last couple of weeks, and I'm noticing a huge difference. I notice I'm not thinking about my savings for when I retire, because there's people in my life saying, you gotta start saving. You better start saving because da da da. What's this job that you're doing? And they give me anxiety. However, when I live in the moment and I'm sitting here and I'm watching my girls play, or I'm spending time with a good friend of mine and we're sitting chatting about his day, or um, spending time with a anybody, family member, or whatever, I'm happy. It's because I'm in the moment. And I think that's a huge thing. Again, that we talk about as a society. But I think a lot of us talk about it. We don't do it. We don't live it. So that's one thing that I've been doing that I find makes a huge difference. And if people are listening right now and they want to know, how do you live in the moment? How do you? It's honestly very simple. I think one of the things is just be intent on whatever you're doing at that moment. So, i.e., I'm having this cup of bulletproof coffee.
Nice.
Yes. No. So I'm drinking this coffee, and every sip that goes down, I feel the warmth of the coffee going down my throat into my stomach. Enjoying the actual warmth of the cup in my hand right now. I could feel it, So paying attention to all these little things keeps you in the moment. And that's one way that I do, to keep myself in the moment. So anyways, I think that's hugely important, personally.
Me too. This is something that I have been practicing recently is my presence all the time. This has been plaguing my mind in the last little while. I feel like for years, I haven't really treated everything as important as it should be. Like every interaction is absolutely important to me. It's important for me to be present. One of the things that I found that really works is really easy. And it's just telling yourself that I'm back. Just keep a mental note that I'm back. If you feel like your mind is drifting away, I'm concerned. Right now I'm talking to Sean and I'm worried about, what I'm going to do for the next half hour. Immediately I catch myself and I say, I'm back. And I found that really has changed the way I show up for people. It's really helped me connect with people at a much deeper level than ever before. I feel like I see people for who they are, who truly are. And I think this is a conversation I was having with a friend yesterday, and they were saying that it's understanding the right questions to ask people to get the answers. I was like, I don't even think that you need to have scripted questions. If you really pay attention to the person and if you really focused on who they are, they're already giving you all the answers. It's just a matter of us tuning in and being aware. And it also leaves me thinking about this story from a while ago. I was speaking with this man named Josh Pice, and he shared the story with me about two soldiers back in, I think it's like World War II. And they did this experiment that they sat soldiers right in front of each other from opposing countries, and people who would have killed each other in any other circumstance. They put both the soldiers face to face, and they were asked to really be present for each other and stare at each other in each other's eyes for long periods of time. And after that experiment, they had to drop their weapons.
Right.
They just couldn't cause harm to that person because they really saw the humanity in each other's eyes. And I think that is the most important thing that we can do. We're always trying to search for answers elsewhere by filling our void by shopping, by sex, food. even spiritual entertainment. But the reality is, we all have it within us to begin with, and we need to see that with each other.
I just, I really perked up there when you said spiritual entertainment.
Hmm.
I've never heard that term before. Um, but isn't that kind of what is happening sometimes?
Yeah.
I remember I had a friend, and this is a long time ago, and he um, was into all of this stuff, and he was always reading a new book or going to a new seminar, and it was constant, always happening. And it was very hard to have a conversation with him because every single time we'd have a conversation, he'd kind of pick up on the way I was talking, and he would call me on certain things, right? And I noticed that he was almost addicted to self-help. Like there was almost like an addiction to self-help. And that's interesting. Like I wonder if, and I'm just positing this out there. I'm wondering if that's what a lot of us are doing. If we're using spirituality or this idea of trying to find ourselves or feel comfortable on this planet as entertainment. Is it a way of entertainment? It's like instead of binge watching, Stranger Things, we're binge watching or binge doing all of this spiritual entertainment. That's really, really, really interesting. And to get back to the whole idea of filling that hole or filling that void, I really feel like, and I've been doing this since I was 10 years old, so 32 years. I've been trying to fill that hole, and it suddenly dawned on me that, in my personal experience, and it may be different for everybody else, but it suddenly dawned to me that you can't fill that hole with anything. There's a disconnect that's happening between the self, which is our three-dimensional self, and the true self, which is forever, which is everlasting. And as we all know through science, that energy does not die. So that's an old topic. We don't have to talk about that. So if energy does not die, the energy that is us, that is the true self. That true self does not exist on this three-dimensional plane, which is why we meditate. So when we meditate, like you mentioned in your opening, we meditate to connect to that part of us that is eternal. So during that meditation, there's a connect between the three-dimensional and the whatever it is, fifth dimensional. I know they've proven there's 11 dimensions. I'm not too sure what dimension that's going to be. But there is a connection between the third dimensional and that eternal part of us. When we have that connection, that void is filled for that particular time. When we don't have that connection, the void is back. So what I'm starting to realize is that to fill that void, we need to connect our three-dimensional selves, which is on this planet, to the part of us that is eternal, the part of us that will last forever, the part of us that doesn't have anxiety, doesn't have depression, isn't worried about the past, isn't worried about the future, understands that the time that we have on this planet is experiential. So everything is just an experience to lead us back to that part of us that is eternal, that part of us that will last forever. And that's all it is. This is what I'm learning now at my age. Who knows, 10 years from now, I might have a different viewpoint, but I've stopped chasing the carrot. I've stopped because the ringleader who's got that carrot and who's holding it in front of you, who's dangling it, he or she is dangling it and laughing their butts off, basically just laughing and laughing and laughing, ha 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 ha, pulling the carrot further and further back. You will never get that carrot. It's impossible. There'll always be more for you to want. The billionaire who's got, the person who makes $1 billion, you think, perfect, I'm good. No, they're not good. They want 10 billion. They want 20 billion. They want 100 billion. How much can I make? That elusive carrot keeps on being pulled further and further and further back. So there's no point in chasing that carrot. It starts inside out, inside out. Fill this up inside, connect inside, the outer will show itself.
Absolutely. Those are strong words that you have there. And it's interesting. I mentioned the spiritual entertainment because I think And that's one of the things that I try to connect with my coaching clients a lot of the times. I get them, I talk to them, I get them to connect with me, but in the end, they have to do the inner work themselves. And if they don't do the inner work themselves, then they're not going to really see the results that they really want. And I always thought, I'm like, I don't want to be spiritual entertainment for people, even people who are watching right now. I want people to watch this and get some sort of inspiration from this, but really, in the end, you have to find the answers from within. And that comes from meditation, that comes from being present, that comes from even healing some past traumas that you have in your life, maybe really pinpointing that. But I think that's a conversation for a different time altogether, by really identifying what that trauma is, and to really heal that part of us is very important as well. I think yeah, I could talk to you for hours, Sean,
I know
but
we can. I
I
know.
do. I know we literally have before, but I do want to be respectful of your time. I'm going to head over to chat to see what everyone's talking about and see if we have any questions as well. So the who do we have? We got Metaphysical Mike in the house. We have Tracy. Hello, Tracy, with positive vibes. Oh, we got some comments as well. We have Evan Carmichael. Good morning, Evan. Okay, so Tracy is saying there are so many areas of life and so many carrots. It's hard to know which one to go after. But I guess once you have one, you can't go for another. What do you think, Sean? What do you think about that?
I think she's right, and I think there's a school of thought that says that and especially in today's day and age, and it's very popular that everyone wants just to have an experience, and they feel like once I have this experience, I'm good. And I think what's important is just to see the pattern of what happens, right? So it's like, okay, I'm gonna go out and I'm gonna have this experience. I need to experience what this feels like, and you go out and you have that experience, and you have it. And then there's a satiation period where you're satiated for a good while, and then you feel like, well, I need to have another experience now. And look, there's nothing wrong with that. And some people live their whole lives that way, and they have unbelievable experiences. If your reason for doing so is to get to the core true person who you are and to finally understand that, it's possible. 100% it's possible. I mean, I only know who I am from all the experiences that I've had in my life that make me realize who I am not.
Mm-hmm.
And you can only understand that through experience, I think. So all of these experiences, again, are a roadmap to the same spot. And I think I told you, Lily, when we spoke a few days ago, it's like if you're going to New York from Toronto, there's a variety of different ways to get to New York. So everyone has their own way of getting there, but we're all going to the same spot. So if your way of getting to that spot is through experiences, that's your way of getting there.
Yeah.
I think what we're suggesting is that maybe you don't have to do all these experiences to get there. Maybe it's already here, I think is what we're suggesting.
That's some powerful stuff, Sean. I think it always comes down to this, is to really connect with yourself. And anytime that I feel like my thoughts are running wild and I can't trust them, I just go down to the basics and really connect with my body. I think that is so important for every single person, is really understanding, where does a void live? Where does anxiety live? And really catch it before it goes out of control and you find yourself binge watching Netflix, or even worse, doing a lot of drugs. And people have died because of this. So it's
Yeah.
absolutely important to really just connect with our inner self, and also connect with others too, because there's something beautiful about connecting with others from a place of abundance versus from a lack. Because you could be connecting with people because you feel like there's something missing in your life and this person makes up for you. But it's really connecting because we have stories to share and we could really have this amazing experience together. And which is what drew me to you in the first place, Sean. It's because I felt like you had so much to share and I had a lot to share as well. And I've always wanted to find a way to involve you in my journey somehow. And I just couldn't figure out how, but I think I found my way today.
Well, it definitely wasn't dancing.
Yeah, well, context for people. I met Sean through dancing. He was one of my students, and yeah, we don't dance anymore, so that's where we're gonna leave it.
You can tell them the truth that I failed your level 1 beginners class. I failed, people. I failed. I was so bad.
No, 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 not at all. Not at all. He did a lot better than he thought. Anyways, that was like what, 5 years ago, right? But we still kept in contact, and I know we keep going off on tangents, but I do want to wrap this up. I think what kept us connected is our journey in finding out who we truly are, and I think that's what kept us going. And then somehow around the path, we found each other again.
Very happy for it. Absolutely.
Yeah. Me too. Me too. Okay, Sean. So I'm going to wrap this up. Is there anything that you want to share with the people watching?
Yeah, I think don't be afraid. Just don't be afraid. It's not as bad as you think. I think on the other side, if we're being watched on the other side, I think they're all having a jolly good time watching us go through our angst, our depression, our anxiety. They care for us a great deal, but at the same time, they're having a good time, because I think we take things a little too seriously. I think when we take our lives so seriously, I've got to find the one, this one person that's going to satisfy everything inside of me. I've got to find that one job that's going to satisfy everything inside. I've got to find the one. We put so much importance on it. And I think that we just need to relax a little bit. I think we just need to have a little bit less resistance. And I think we just need to have faith in the experience and have faith in the journey. Because I think it's supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be fun.
All right. Well, let's have fun. So my takeaway for everybody is just have fun with it. If you don't have all the answers, that's okay. Be okay with not having all the answers too. It's going to come with you. You just have to connect within yourself. And that's it. Thank you so much, guys. And I'll see you guys tomorrow morning for another episode of Coach's Corner. Take care. Bye-bye. Say bye, Sean.
Bye, Sean.
Bye-bye.